What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 710 of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk Hot Tags of the Week Special Combo Edition Pay-Per-View Point ×2 and updates to another pay-per-view point. Lots of pay-per-views content going on this week, so we are rolling some of that into the hot tags. We'll talk about some other regular news and gossip and everything else like that as well, though. If you don't know who we are, I am Tony Mango, joined as always by Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
And Rob DeFelice.
Hey.
And our lineup for this episode is to talk about Saturday night's main event 40, the ROH Supercard of Honor show that is happening in a few hours actually from this. So I don't know, by the time we're done doing this, and then by the time you might be listening to it, maybe it's going to start or something. And then, of course, talk about some other things here and there. So as we talk about all these different topics, we want to know what you have to say, what your thoughts are, opinions, in agreement or disagreement, whatever it might be. Drop them in the comment section below or wherever else you are listening to us. If you are on YouTube, though, make sure that you hit the like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and get your email alerts set up for the post shows immediately following all the events on Saturday. By that, I mean all of them lumped together, not immediately following each one of the events. I can't possibly do that. And then the Evolution post show as well, and any other time that we do post shows and other kind of live content here and there. If you want to help us out on the monetary side of things, click on the join button. That'll give you the same different tiers that we have over on Patreon. For anybody that's not on YouTube, the Patreon is your option to do that too. So I'll greatly appreciate it. It all helps out keep the lights on and continue to do this podcast and keep the website going and all that. Same for fanboysanonymous.com. You know, you support one, you support the other one by proxy. Redbubble and TeePublic is where you can pick up your merchandise if you want to pick up a shirt or some kind of hat or all sorts of different things, and slaps different designs on those different merchandise options. Our Discord server is the best place to chat it up and just hang out on a regular basis. So hop on over to there. You can see a link on the sidebar of smarkoutmoment.com. You can find a link below on the YouTube side of things. Let's start getting into the mix here for all these, because we have a lot of topics to get into. And real quick shout out for one of them. Carmelo Hayes and Kelani Jordan are engaged. They have started to date in NXT, like most people tend to do, because NXT is like a factory of people meeting each other, and seems like it's like the best matchmaking place you could possibly get into for a lot of talent. That's awesome. Good for them.
Yeah, who says the matchmaking in NXT is no good? Look what they've done in the field of love. All right, that's the real squared circle that matters. But yes, congratulations to Kelani and Carmelo. They're awesome, and I wish them many years of happiness.
They do need to start introducing some sort of Love Island aspect to this.
They should.
Thing, really.
Honestly, they probably should. People would
honestly,
watch it.
It'd be the most watched thing that they do on any sort of WWE television if they would just... Not even like, it doesn't even need to be like any sort of super produced thing. They just literally need to just put cameras backstage in the locker rooms or like in just the porn center and just wait for the people to butt heads over. It must be like rutting season there or all the time, like a nature documentary almost.
And then you have to turn over. It's like, in this season, Cora Jade is with Braun Breaker. In this season, Cora Jade is with somebody else, and Izzy Dame is now with whatever. Did you know that Roxanne Perez is now with who's she with? Harlem Lewis? Or
one of those.
Or no, it's not Harlem Lewis. It's oh god, the guy from LFG. Why am I blanking? So many people right now in Evolve and LFG look similar and have similar names that it's just like Harley Riggins and Harlem Lewis and all this. So you're like, all right,
Drake Moreau.
Drake Moreau, yeah, not even close to the look, to the name, but it's the look that mixed up too. So many people, you'll find out, and it's this funny story that I don't know if you guys had ever seen somebody talk about it, but when Zelina Vega was announcing that she was engaged to Aleister Black, apparently Triple H was like, "Wait, aren't you dating Andrade?"
What?
And it's like, After all that time that they must have been together and like not at all, interacting in that kind of way, just because they were manager and wrestler, he was just kind of like,
thinking about what he would do, like,
right? Yeah, so it's like even if you're
I'll tell you what I was doing in this
boss.
position.
So congrats to the happy couple, and it's always good news to see that kind of stuff. Let's get into another thing that's outside of the mix for instead of getting just in the pay-per-views. We got another wrestler cast in this new Street Fighter movie, which at this point is I don't know if it's confirmed about Cody Rhodes being Guile, but Cody Rhodes is Guile, seemingly a possibility if not confirmed. Roman Reigns as Akuma, and now Hirooki Goto as E Honda.
Yep.
Who's going to end up playing Cammy? Alexa Bliss? Or like, is this going to end up being like we rolled through the whole Rolodex and the next person is, I don't know if they had cast like Vega or something, but that's going to be, I don't know, Bandido or whatever. I'm not opposed to it. Give me all the wrestlers doing this. They're kind of crazy. I would say the one person I would probably be like, hey, you should look at this guy for this role. Maybe cast Braun Strowman as Zangief.
Hey, I like that. I like that one a lot.
See if you could do a Russian accent.
It should be a really fun movie, though. I mean, it might not be good.
Oh, it's not going to be good.
I'm saying fun. Nah, it might not be good.
Let's put it this way.
Should at least be fun.
Yeah, good in the sense of it's not going to be Shawshank, but it could be fun. I mean, that Mortal Kombat movie that they made, how many years ago at this point? They should have done a second one by now. But the one that's coming out with like Carl Urban being Johnny Cage instead of, I still think that The Miz probably should have played that character.
Andrew Scholes is in this movie too. What the fuck?
Who's that?
What is this movie? The MAGA podcast guy that was on Raw.
Oh.
He did the segment with Logan Paul and AJ Styles.
He just gets beaten up for real. I want to know who plays Dalsim. That seems like a casting that'll be kind of fun. But the more wild
Peck as Vega.
Who is?
Orville Peck.
Oh, that name sounds familiar. Orville Peck.
See.
Or maybe I'm just thinking of Orville Redenbacher.
He's a South African country musician.
Of course he is.
Who wears a mask. He doesn't actually show his face at any point in time.
Okay.
David Dalmastian is M. Bison.
Yeah, he's great. I mentioned before Desmalchin. He's in Ant-Man. He's in Late Night with the Devil, Suicide Squad. He's fantastic.
Momoa is Blanca, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's a casting that I wouldn't have necessarily gone with, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, you know what? Okay, I can see that.
And then you've got 50 Cent playing Balrog.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing here? Are they blowing the entire budget on the cast?
Maybe.
Like,
but you know what? Go for it. Like, this sounds wilder and wilder as time goes on, and I'm down for just pure insanity, pure chaos. Make this the type of movie that I watch in the theater and people willingly just like crack jokes during the movie, Like, I had fun watching like Megan 2.0 in the theaters because people will be like, saying things and all that. Do shit like that. That was a fun movie for anyone that's curious.
I'm surprised you went to the theater for Megan 2.0, but that's fun.
Oh, the first one was fun. So I was like, yeah, I got to see the second one. The second one was, they Terminator 2 the whole thing. It was like to a T. It was, not to a T being Terminator, but you know what I mean? It was like beat for beat. A lot of things were very much Terminator 2. And I was like, okay, I get this. Look at that. Get my inner Terminator 2 geek out. But Superman tickets on Sunday. Looking more forward to that than Evolution.
Wow, it's very sexist of you, Tony.
Yeah, I would be looking more forward to Supergirl too.
Would you though?
Yeah, it's a
I guess over
DC movie. Yeah.
over Evolution, not over Superman.
No. Superman over Supergirl. But no. Yeah, I'm down. Hirooki Goto would have been the first person that I would have thought of off the top of my head as a casting director. But you know what? I'm sure they went through a laundry list of people and he looks enough like the character. Cool. Go for it. Give me this weird shit. I want to see the Street Fighter movie now. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe we get another announcement in a week or two where T-Hawk is played by Trey Bearhill or something.
You're going to find out that... Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's quite interesting about like the Goto casting, because I don't know when this... does anybody know when this is going to start filming or anything along those lines? Are they still in just very much pre-production?
They're claiming in theaters by March. That's not happening.
All right.
So I don't know.
There's the idea that like Goto recently got injured.
Yeah.
He's having an elbow injury, which means he's out of the G1. So yeah, just wondering like when that. I don't, because I'd obviously consider the fact that he's going to be out of the G1. Presumably he'll probably be fit and ready to go before the G1 is over. It's just a case of he wouldn't be able to have most of the matches, but it's just how severe is that elbow injury, and presumably if he has been cast now, he'll be able to at least do some stuff. But yeah, it is interesting to see him be pulled out for this stuff.
I mean, depending on what they want to do with how they film. Do you guys remember that movie Tag that came out a couple years ago with like John Hamm and Jeremy Renner and a bunch of other people?
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Renner had both his arms broken the entire movie. He was in cast.
At that point, an elbow injury is nothing.
So, like, his arms in the movie are, like, all CGI.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, a movie about tagging people. And it was like, damn, our main character, who's the best person at tagging people, has broken arms and he's in casts. And they managed to pull it off. So, I think that whatever the elbow or... Was it elbow or shoulder injury?
Elbow.
They'll probably be able to, put some kind of cast on that, maybe they'll even incorporate that into the design or something. But E-Honda does have those really fast arms, so I don't know how they plan on doing that, but that'll definitely be CGI. I don't think Goto's that fast. I don't know, maybe I haven't seen enough Goto matches. Maybe he's super fast at his chops or something. But that's cool. I'm down for that. And as far as another, producing type thing is concerned, look at that transition. Shayna Baszler is a producer in NXT now. You know what? Makes sense. If she's down to do that, I think she could be a great producer in WWE. And I think she's shadowing Oni Lorcan right now.
Yeah.
Which, again, makes sense too.
Like, I understand this and I get it, and it's a good spot for her. But I was hoping she would do, her own thing and maybe a short stint in AEW, maybe have some fun with Marina or something. But I'm glad that she found some place that, she's going to be used well and make some money.
Yeah, I mean, she's one of the few people out of the recent WWE releases that I would have been happy to see go to AEW, because I think that she, even though she's quite advanced in her career, it's not like she is like not working at the same sort of pace that she previously would, because she was never like the fastest worker in the world. She was more methodical in her approach, and you can extend that sort of style for quite a long time. So I would have been happy to see her appear in AEW or some other places, but if this is easier for her and keeps her in the fold of what she's used to, and she gets to pass on some of that knowledge and understanding to the next generation coming up, then it's a good move for her in that respect.
You gotta figure, if she accepted this offer, she must have thought it was more enticing than to go to AEW. Whether that's, I don't want to really bang up my body anymore, or maybe AEW wasn't really calling and this was the better backup option. Maybe she does have an interest in producing. I don't know if she's ever said that elsewhere. Like, some people have specifically said, like, I don't think I would be a good producer. And other people are like, please give me a job at the Performance Center. That's all I want in life. Maybe she's somebody that had been interested before, and obviously a portion of this is they must have realized we can keep her in the WWE family and prevent her from going to AEW and not have to pay her the same salary that we did before because she's not a performer in the same sense. So I'm sure it all factors in somewhere. She has to have at least been interested. There has to have been not a great enough offer from AEW to convince her otherwise, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff factors in. But I'm curious to see where this leads for the women's division. If it ends up being we start seeing a little bit more brutality from certain people, maybe certain people start getting new finishers, or you take a person like Elaine Reed, who is a young prospect that just basically showed up, and maybe we start seeing some Shayna Baszler influences, or, anything along those lines. I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled about that. Let's go to another topic here. Again, outside of the pay-per-view stuff. And this one sucks as far as competition for AEW and the whole, WWE trying to strategize. Heatwave is happening opposite Forbidden Door. Of course it is. And
that is the report right now from WrestleVotes. It's not official from WWE yet, but the writing's on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, WrestleVotes tends to be like 99% hit on things. So Heatwave is going to get announced. It's probably going to get announced on Great American Bash and just be like, and the next time you're going to be seeing our premium live event for NXT is WWE Heatwave. It's August, whatever date that is. And, the thing from WrestleVotes that said, like, this is specifically their strategy. There's no qualms about it anymore. WWE deliberately wants to go opposite of that because they think that they can take some of the attention away. And we've talked about it before. We've talked about the pros and cons. We've talked about how, like, we understand how WWE can think this way, but at the same time, it's a little short-sighted and it's a little dumb in some other ways. And we don't have the metrics to know how many people tune in and what the comparisons are. And we can't run through algorithms and be like, well, X amount of people watched NXT Battleground and that wasn't in direct competition with anything else. So then Great American Bash gets these numbers. So then we can factor in this kind of skew of what we don't have any of that kind of crap technically. But at the same time, it's basic common sense. If you run a show opposite your direct competition, you are hurting yourself in part in order to hurt the competition. And is it worth it to put an NXT show opposite an AEW show? Are you taking less of a hit and giving them enough of a hit? And do you need to give them a hit at all? I don't think that that's necessarily worth it. And I don't think that the value is really there, because the people that are going to be interested in Forbidden Door are not going to watch Heatwave over Forbidden Door. And the people that are interested in both are probably going to do what I do and what Rob does. And just, you have two different screens and you put them both on and you pay attention to whatever is the most important. And the people that are only the people that watch WWE are the people who are watching WWE anyway. And you're not hindering AEW in a sense that you're bringing more people to WWE. In a company that's so interested in perpetual growth, this has no growth value to it. And I don't think it hurts AEW enough to be like, it's growth by proxy of damaging the competition. So I think it's just grandstanding bullshit. And I fully agree with Ricochet's tweet where he just tweeted out, bitch move.
That's what he tweeted that for. That's really effective. Because to me it is. And I was explaining this to someone last night. It's WWE doesn't care because WWE doesn't mind throwing NXT under the bus, which, let's be clear, is what they are doing. NXT has never looked worse because you keep putting these lackluster cards up against. Double or Nothing was a fantastic show from AEW. This is their WrestleMania. No one's going to care about the Great American Bash. Even the fact that you just had the direct former AEW Women's World Champion on the card, it doesn't matter. But they don't care because just like with the Wednesday Night Wars, they're gonna go, they beat our developmental company, so bug off, you know?
Kind of like try and observe this from what my mindset or why I would take this approach, considering the fact that just from the outside now it looks such a desperate move. Just something they really shouldn't even be considering, because it's so transparent now exactly what they're doing that even the most diehard, unless the ones that are absolutely perpetually stupid, but even like diehard ones that have a little bit of common sense about them can't look at that and say, okay, they're definitely trying to counter program and do as much as they can possibly do. I think maybe it's just another level that we can't possibly fathom why they think this is a good strategy. And maybe it is just down to the fact that if they do put these things on the same night, even if people are the casual, casual fan or the typical fan that follows both of them is going to prioritize Forbidden Door over whatever NXT put on, primarily because the track record for AEW's pay-per-view speak for themselves. But it's more along the lines of it forces the media, wrestling media surrounding it, to divert their attention to both sides of things. They can't just ignore one of them. So it means that you just don't get that ownership of the day that you previously would have had if it was just Forbidden Door going on then. So it's just as minute and as petty and as like minuscule as it appears on the surface, and it probably frankly is. In their mindset, it's like, okay, we're just sacrificing NXT and that doesn't matter, to just have our little bit of spotlight on any day that they're going to do something that could be either big or serious for them. So it's like, just make sure that we are in and around what they're doing. Doesn't matter how many viewers we lose in the process or anything along those lines. As long as there's columns written about us on their day, then we're good.
I know people don't like when I get super political on this podcast, and everybody that's been following the podcast long enough, they know my opinions. WWE, we know for a fact there are people within WWE, a lot of them, unfortunately, and a lot of them in power, and this is partially because they're rich people, and rich people are, by and large, disgusting, terrible people. And also just, by virtue of who they voted for in this MAGA shit, we know that mentality does shit like this. Because if you look at the way that side of the political spectrum views strategy, cruelty is the point for a lot of things. That's a phrase that's been happening a lot lately, where it's like, yeah, there's no gain out of this. It's just to harm other people. That's their goal. And, WWE is kind of approaching the same thing. It's sort of the equivalent of the whole, I don't care if I shot myself in my own foot, if it owns the libs, whatever, that kind of childish shit. And it reeks to me of the petty, dumb, let's put it that way, ignorant, all these other kind of, you can throw all the derogatory terms you want to, because you're all on that side of the spectrum are all fucking disgusting. It's kind of the same as when you ever see, and I've seen this happen in in person, and I've seen it happen obviously in other examples and stuff. Do you ever come across one of those times where a set of siblings has one kid that is so fucking petulant that even when it's the other kid's birthday, they piss and moan so much that they also get attention, to the point that the parents are like so bent over that they give a toy to the other kid too? You ever see that?
It doesn't ring a bell.
Ever happened with you, Rob? Do you ever see anybody with that kind of dynamic?
I think someone may have taken his mic away.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm just share that. Yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, you can understand the overall psychology behind that, though.
I've never seen that myself, but it is petty and stupid, and I hate it.
it seems like it's just a matter of, I don't care if we waste money. I don't care if we look bad. I don't care if we gain nothing out of this. But if we hurt them in any way, that's the point. And that's a loser's game. WWE eventually will reach a point when they keep doing these things where somebody crunches the numbers and somebody goes, you know what, we're really not getting a whole lot of return on investment on these shows. We really should probably think twice about doing that. And unfortunately, it's going to take a lot because these people are dumb too. Like, you know, yes, they might be smart in some business senses, but they're dumb in some other ways too. And they're going to make the mistake of doing everything that they can before learning the lesson, just the same as we're doing in this country. And it's going to be a situation where they're going to go, we're not making enough money doing this, but we're not willing to admit that that was a bad strategy. So we're going to have to fire more people. And that's what sucks so bad. It's you know, you can apply it to any other kind of country, company where it'll be like, hey, maybe people don't want to spend more money on shittier food. You're putting less in the package and you've made the food taste worse because you cut back on ingredients and you upped the price. All three of those things are bad. How about you make it taste better and you give more and you make the price better and people will buy it more? And then they go, no. The problem is, actually, I'll put a thing on here about YouTube. For anybody that's not aware, YouTube is not telling people this unless you message them directly and ask them what's wrong with this, which I did. They don't send you email alerts anymore for comments. And they put no indications about that out there. They decided on like the 24th or something that they just don't want to do that anymore. So I've been realizing that on my channel, I'm like, I'm not getting any comments. What's happening? And then I'll click on the YouTube studio and I'll be like, there's 6 comments on here. Why didn't I get an email? And I messaged them yesterday about it. And I was eventually just kind of like, yo, what the hell's happening with this? Like, all my settings are exactly the same as, and they're like, oh yeah, now that we checked into it, we've deprecated this feature. And I was like, so you've decided it's not beneficial anymore to alert people of comments because you want them to manually go in and do that themselves. Do you not realize that there are lots of people that only check their YouTube channel if they've gotten an email from a comment, which then diverts their attention and gets them to, you know, want to go check and respond to that? They're not going to go and do that effort on their own. So you're going to get less engagement, which is going to be bad for you. So whatever money you think you're saving with not sending out emails, you're going to lose in not getting that. It's stupid. So that's also my warning. If you leave a comment and I don't respond to it, it's because I just haven't clicked on it. And I typically only click on YouTube Studio throughout the week when we're uploading a new podcast. So I might be late on my comment responses. Anyway, that's my political crap. No more for this episode, or at least no more that I have planned. But
it's just good advice for life. Don't cut your nose to spite your face.
No, not at all. And stop being stupid. And you know,
it is a good lesson. But then you do take this stance with like WWE, so like they're never going to get affected by this. Like WWE has always demonstrated, especially over the last few years, that they'll make money despite themselves.
Yeah, they'll fail ass backwards into this stuff.
Exactly. They can do whatever they want to, could hurt the prestige of their brand, make themselves look like this desperate, trying to feed off and trying to damage their competitor that they're light years ahead of in terms of revenue anyway, and history, and decide that, yeah, we're just going to keep doing this because even if it costs us money, who cares? Because someone's going to give us that money in another way at some point. We'll make that money back some other way. So
it'll be like, we lost a bit of money, but now we have Maybelline as our new sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I don't know what that plan is, but that's the thing.
See, I think they're probably going to like sponsor the chairs. So the chairs will have like Maybelline on it, and when you hit them in the face, they get covered in makeup.
It'll be what was it? Fireball was the ladder. And
Bubbles the ladder and Slim Jim's the table.
Slim Jim's the table, so we need the chair thing, which means at some point somebody's going to go, you know what would make us a lot of money? We should do that TLC pay-per-view again, and we can get all 3 advertisements all in one thing. And it's going to happen now that I put it in the fucking universe, you know.
We really missed the boat on tabling, but, you know, such is life. And what are they? You said they're sponsoring chairs? I don't understand. Like, for what? Why is Maybelline sponsoring the chairs?
Are they actually, or what?
No, I've just made up the chairs thing. Like,
okay, I thought that it was a joke, but now I'm like, wait a minute, I would believe it.
Hey, it's a joke until someone hears this and realizes it's the truth. So
I'm like, are we doing a makeup chair gimmick? Like, what are we doing here? Like,
let me see.
It's like anything. I've said it, and so some other probably more prominent journalists could say that onto a wrestling podcast or YouTube show or whatever, and they would say it, and it's like, oh, I'm just making a joke, and then you'll see 5 aggregators put it out as like the story.
Ringside News is going to be like,
Dave Meltzer. They're going to feed that through their ChatGPT prompt thing. You're going to see the next article from Subhojit or something. It says here, Maybelline New York has been named the official cosmetics partner, because WWE needs an official cosmetics partner. The L'Oreal makeup business. This is from cosmeticsbusiness.com, by the way, so you know. The L'Oreal-owned makeup business will serve as the, quote, presenting partner of Evolution.
Yeah, baby, because you can't do a women's show without a makeup sponsor.
That's so fucking like that. Like, I hate this whole going back to the 50s shit that people want to do these days. And it's like, are we going to have the women come out and be like, they have to wear stupid aprons and present? Well, everybody knows that a woman wants this kind of oven for their birthday, because that's how we view women and all this. It's terrible. Disgusting jerk offs. WWE is excited to collaborate with Maybelline New York, a partner that not only leads the beauty industry, but also shares our vision for highlighting amazing individuals across the roster. I hate corporate speak so fucking much. Maybelline New York continues to lead the way by moving at the speed of culture, connecting beauty with entertainment in bold, inclusive, and unexpected ways. I've been told so many times that I should get into marketing, and I always have the same response. I would shoot my fucking brains out.
How fast exactly is the speed of culture?
It's at the speed of culture is apparently somewhere tied into this other phrase, because you have to have like 8 of the same phrases. At Beauty Co Lab, we are proud to have helped shape the milestone partnership with WWE, which reflects this kind of innovative thinking that keeps the brand ahead of the curve. They're all fucking robots. Every one of these corporate. This
is why it's so easy with this ChatGPT stuff to just.
It is
like someone just put into it. It's like write a funny or write a sort of like interesting statement for Maybelline forming a partnership with WWE, just in ChatGPT, and put it out immediately afterwards. It's like, you know, I'm
gonna do it.
It does sound like the speed of culture.
I'm loading up ChatGPT right now. I'm gonna say, write a typical bullshit corporate speak press notice for a new partnership with Maybelline. Let's see what it says. For immediate release, WWE and Maybelline announced multifaceted partnership to empower confidence and drive innovation across beauty and sports entertainment. This is exactly the same. Stamford, Connecticut, and New York, July 11th, 2025. WWE, part of TKO Group Holdings, today announced a dynamic new partnership with Maybelline, a global leader in cosmetics, to bring bold new activations in the intersection of beauty empowerment and sports entertainment. This strategic alignment positions WWE and Maybelline at the forefront of culture and commerce, leveraging shared brand equity to co-create meaningful touch points for a new generation of fans and consumers. This is fucking exactly what it is. To the point that it's even making fake quotes. Quote, "This is more than a sponsorship. It's a shared vision," said WWE Chief Brand Officer Samantha DiMartino. WWE superstars embody strength, style, and confidence. Remember that whole, what was it? Beauty, brains, and strength, or something that they did however many years ago. They were harping on that phrase.
Smart, sexy, powerful.
Yeah, smart, sexy, powerful was the thing.
Smart, sexy, powerful. That's right. Because I remember being really annoyed that it was, why is it smart, sexy, powerful, and not strong? And you keep the alliteration going.
I remember TNA did that same thing with the knockouts for a little while. Before every knockouts match, they did like this thing where you saw like some of the women would just appear on like a flash forward thing where it's like you see Gal Kim and then it would have some word next to it, and then Awesome Kong and some other word next to it, next to like people like I don't know, Gal Kim or Madison Rain or something like that. It would say like beauty, and then you just look at Awesome Kong and it'd say strength or something on those lines. It's like, yeah, we get it. You've got. It was very well. To be fair, it was more empowering than probably the WWE equivalent. But like, they're trying to push the idea of, yeah, we really get behind our women, but fundamentally they're sex objects.
Yeah,
They're there for your pleasure. That are there for your pleasure.
And it's like, you could try to make this all, corporate crap as it is. The overwhelming majority of your fan base sits around and goes, who's got a great ass, and just does that. That's it. They're all pigs. So, anyway, we got some updates today.
Thanks for watching, guys. Men. Right before Evolution. That's a great time to really hammer home this point.
We got some updates to the AEW All In Texas card. Let's get into that with the stuff that happened on both Dynamite and Collision. Most of that, of course, factors into the pay-per-view stuff. So, actually, first, before we get into the pay-per-view stuff, anything else that happened on this show that you guys want to talk about that's not pay-per-view based?
Not pay-per-view based. Have a look quickly. Just need to try and refresh my memory a little bit of both shows, but so they had a couple of. One little news story from AEW I think is quite interesting is that it was revealed recently that Dustin Rhodes signed a contract for the next 6 years with AEW. So anyone that was, so anyone that was thinking, oh yeah, he's it's just a matter of time before he's back at back in WWE with Cody, supporting him to the ring and stuff like that. So yeah, he's going to be with AEW at least, based on this, at least until 2030. And so yeah, probably finish his in-ring career as part of WWE, part of AEW. Maybe come back for like a Hall of Fame induction, because he should get a Hall of Fame induction with WWE, obviously. But it's a case of that's not going to change anytime soon. Not his current position. The only other things that haven't really affect All In too much. They continued like this Ricochet thing with the Gates of Agony, and he had a match with Blake Christian, which is a bit odd because they're both heels, but still have that going on. So, and Ricochet said he's put his name forward, so he will appear in the Casino Gauntlet at some point. Yeah, outside of that, most of the matches are related to the show, so I don't think there was anything. It was a nicely put together two two go home shows that helped sell the matches. I think the most interesting segment out of all of them was the backstage thing between Swerve and Hangman on Collision. Just because you had that little sit down where they basically just laid all their cards on the table. Hangman basically said to him that you deserved getting your house burned down for what you did to my family, but I regret it. And then he asked Swerve, did he regret what he did? And Swerve basically said, if I hadn't have won the world championship, then I would say, no, I don't regret it. But since I did become champion and had the feeling of holding it and all the things and all the loss that I've suffered in the time since losing the title, then yeah, I do regret it. And they kind of ended at some sort of chord there where Hangman said he's bringing his family, and Swerve says that he's going to stay away and hope they enjoy the show. And then Hangman had left his chain in the ring, and Swerve picked it up and looked at it. So it's like, okay, so what sort of involvement is he going to have in the main event potentially? So is it a case of, they've left it very open-ended to be the case of okay, so does he use the chain to help Hangman win? Does he use it to help fight off the Death Riders, or does he use that to take out Hangman and hand the victory over to Moxley instead? So there's, yes, they'll leave it open ended because that's what they do. They're very good at leaving options available.
And meanwhile, he's actually just like, oh, nice. Neat chain.
Hey, nice chain.
Thanks for the gift. That's the closest thing to like, we're not going to have a beer together yet, but I'll leave my chain for you. How about that as a parting gift?
Oh, this is my chain now.
Just thinking about that. I don't know why, because it's not a chain, but that Simpsons bit where
he's dragging on your cord.
That wasn't the one I was thinking of. That's an even better one. But I was thinking of the two wives joke where it's like, oh, you're smiling like a guy with two wives. Or you're thinking of somebody with two knives, then Mo's just holding the two knives. And it's like, I gotta say, it's pretty good. Just be like, this chain's pretty sweet. All right, I like that guy. You know.
I thought it was the strong symbolism of, you know, breaking free of chains, dropping the chain. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I mean,
or maybe even it's like, I'm going to leave a weapon so that way, like, I trust you that you're not going to use this against me, kind of a thing, or something.
Like,
which
you
might
know,
be a failure. Yeah.
Honestly, I thought when he said I'm bringing my family, I thought he was going to say, and you're going to apologize to my son. My son sees your fucking face in his sleep. You're going to tell him that you're sorry. Like, that's what I would do. But maybe staying out of the way is also good.
He's like, and then you're going to rebuild my family house.
No, but it was a very strong segment, and people are ready. Following that, you had Moxley bash it for being, you know, modern, forgiving men garbage. Well, where's the toughness? And Marina then called Hangman a pussy twice. And I'm excited for this match. I think this match needs to close the show. For the life of me, I don't know why it wouldn't, but it needs to close the show, and it needs to be a bloodbath that ends with the Cowboy getting his belt back.
I'm really more so than ever hoping that Hangman wins. Still think there's a possibility it might not happen, but yeah. But they did announce
more open-ended before, but I think now he's gonna win.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident still.
We do have a few more matches now, though, on this card that they had announced, as we predicted ahead of time that they were going to put a couple more and, you know, throw some things on the pre-show and stuff. One of them being FTR versus the Outrunners. So they're running that
great match on Collision last week. I hope they can recapture that magic.
I think in front of the crowd in Texas, like, this will probably be the first match that they see, so I imagine they'll get into it pretty quickly. I think that the best result, even though they are building up FTR and they'll likely be doing something with Copeland down the line, it'll be good to see the Outrunners get a win here, just because then you can build up to a big rubber match on an episode of Dynamite or Collision in the near future, because FTR already won the first match. So I actually think the Outrunners are going to win this one.
I think that they might be looking at the match that happened in on Collision as being almost like that was the win for the Outrunners, because Outrunners and Jet Speed beating FTR and the Patriarchy could read as like, you got one over on us, and then now it's not the third technically, but I think that they could be doing that. So I'm going to go FTR, but yeah, the Outrunners winning on a pre-show would make sense too. Unfortunately, we have Big Boom AJ again. He's got to do that. And
if it's restricted to this stuff, I'm like willing to let it slide. Like, this is not like Travis Scott coming out in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
No, I don't like that. Ideally, I wouldn't have this happen in any remit, but like, it's just a nice little throwaway 8-man tag match, pitting with him and like the conglomeration, which is bringing back Kyle O'Reilly into the fold.
Yeah, that segment, man. So that's like, for anybody who didn't see it, the segment starts off and it's AJ, and he's like, you know, he brings in the Rizzler and Big Justice, who do the whole like, I think we should get another tag team on here. And
okay, Mickey Mouse, go on.
Watch this segment back and tell me I'm not, And Hologram and Tomohiro Ishii show up, and then Kyle O'Reilly comes in and he's like, "Hey, I'm not in the gauntlet." I felt bad for Kyle O'Reilly because it's like, all right, Strong's in the gauntlet, Cole's defending his title, and O'Reilly's like, I got nothing else better to do. How about them cookies?
At which point you can imagine the swear words I was throwing at my screen because I get it. It was a long time ago, but I remember when these people were important, and he's just like, hey, conglomerating is a mindset, and as it turns out, I never actually left the faction, and I'm here, even though I'm wearing a Paragon shirt. Let's go. Like, Kyle O'Reilly's still great. He can still gauntlet. Like, come on.
I think it's just like to prepare people for the fact that, like, because, yeah, even though you can have 21 people in this thing, not everyone's going to be in it, so...
Right.
If they didn't see Kyle O'Reilly being one of the, I don't know, dozen or so people that will end up actually getting into the match, then, might as well be doing something else on the show. He's a good enough hand to be doing something else.
Realistically, I've said this. I think Paragon's going after trios titles after Cole loses on Saturday.
That's like a likely future for them. But in terms of this one, where it's going to be like Big Boom, AJ, and the conglomeration versus this, essentially the kind of lesser members of the Don Callis family with Hechicero, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero,
B Squad.
And Trent Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this screams Big Boom AJ pins Rocky Romero all over it. Like that's basically how I see this one going.
It can't possibly go any other way. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and to be fair, this does just feed into what I've said. Like last year, I said this year, the conglomeration's the best faction that AEW's ever had. It just is, because it's just a group of guys and girls just conglomerating. They conglomerate every now and again, and they can go to other factions and do other things. Everything, but every now and again they'll just come back and conglomerate with each other. Awesome.
The conglomeration name is essentially, it works as it is. It's a catch-all. Whoever wants to be in there at any moment can be in there, and that's it.
Yeah. Votes me.
I still like Conglomo better.
I would. You can't play City Hall. I would have Trent's mom Sue bake the double chunk chocolate cookies, and then that's how you get Beretta angry. And then Beretta pie faces the Rizzler, at which point the Rizzler can come back on him, and it gets the hugest pop you'll ever get in Texas for the Rizzler trying to strike Beretta. If you're gonna do it, go all the way, like.
It's because one of these things, like, because even though we can like scoff about like Big Boom AJ and what difference is he really making, and like having the Rizzler and Big Justice there, and what actual differences they're making for AEW from a business perspective, but fundamentally every match he's had has gotten really over with the crowd. So it's like, it is going to get a good reaction.
You can't fault them for it. Yeah,
I say this unironically. The Rizzler is super over. People love this little kid. They want to see him to his face, and it makes everybody feel good. This is the perfect arena for this act.
I don't get it. I don't think I ever will. It's kind of like, it's not for me. And, pro wrestling's a variety show. So, you're going to get some media attention. You're going to put some people in there that people are going to be happy about. This guy wanted to be a wrestler before, so he's got the connections there. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, like, I wish we weren't in this kind of part of this. Like,
oh my God.
I wish society was not in a way where somebody goes, double chunk chocolate cookie. Everybody's like, fucking great. You're a millionaire now. Like, yeah. I still haven't tried one of these cookies either. I haven't gone to a Costco, and we don't have a Costco around here, so I don't know if they're any good.
Heart of New York City. You don't really need to be going to a Costco, but they're fine. They're
I got Levine Bakery. I got Funny Face Bakery around me. I got some good cookie places.
You can probably ask them for a double chunk chocolate cookie, and I'm sure they'd happily oblige.
There's a place that opened up right near me called like Schmackeries or something like that. They're like a specialty cookie place. I haven't tried them yet, but Motherfucker, I want one now. Even though I'm still sick, I might just later on just be like, maybe I need to go grocery shopping because it's along the way. And just come back and be like, hey, I spent way too much money on cookies. Sorry, sweetie.
Listen, that's a good way to spend your money.
There's worse ways, and the world's ending anyway, and cookies are great. I want a fucking cookie now. I'm going to order insomnia cookies tonight. It's happening. God damn it.
The ADHD on this podcast is high today.
Well, we got another match that's on the main card for this show. Getting back to non-cookie discussion. But the Ops are going to defend the Trios titles. Maybe this could be a triple chunk. Against the Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, or as Justin Roberts says it, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta, and Gabe Kidd being thrown into the mix after Dynamite and everything. We had talked about the idea of potentially putting him in there. They actually did. So by Gabe Kidd being in this, and by it being, it wouldn't really make much sense for me for them to just go back to putting the titles back on the Death Riders. I'm assuming the Alps retain, and I'm going to throw an extra prediction on top of that. I think Samoa Joe beats Claudio.
I think Samoa Joe fights Gabe Kidd at Forbidden Door, and
I could see that.
I'm guessing Alps probably retain here.
Yeah, Gabe Kidd's going to be in the G1 in a couple of weeks' time. Like, unless they're planning on doing like a really quick switch back to either back to the Ops or to another team. I don't see the Death Riders winning the titles here. It is kind of shaping itself up to be like this will be a really bad night for the Death Riders potentially. So having them win the Trios titles doesn't seem to make sense as offsetting that. So yeah, Ops retain.
So that's the AEW update on there, but we haven't talked about ROH Supercard of Honor yet. And that's in good part because none of us watch ROH. And
watch the pay-per-views. I watched the pay-per-views. So
I mean the TV show. Yeah,
not actively, but Rob watched it last night. I dip in and out.
And there are currently 7 matches announced for this, which actually one of them I wasn't aware of until refreshing the page right now.
Can you start with that one?
A worldwide women's wild card 4-way match for the interim ROH Women's World Television Championship.
Thank you. First of all, that's a mouthful. Second of all, thank you, because I was just about to go on a rant on. I watched the show last night to see what are they announcing for the interim ROH Women's World TV title, and they didn't. So tell me who's in this match.
All TBA.
Okay. Jesus Christ, that TBA's getting booked quite a lot there in that one. Like 4 TBAs in one.
TBA is getting more action than Vacant is this year in some ways.
TBA Uno, TBA Dos.
It's a bunch of to be announced people fighting for a fake championship.
That they will have
an interim belt itself.
That they will have to solidify by beating Red Velvet at a later point in time.
I hate this interim thing. Just strip Red Velvet of the title.
I prefer interim titles. I think that, again, maybe this is me just doing my traditional AEW ROH bootlicking stuff, but I think it's better than just having, because it sets up an immediate match between like the current champion and the interim champion that you can build a big match around. Albeit the Women's World Television Championship doesn't like hold this, like it won't be like a massive drawing match, but at least it feels more important than just, crowning a new champion here and then just waiting for Red Velvet to come back to do some kind of rematch thing. It at least builds up to that a bit better.
Hold on, Tony. No, it's not all TBA, bro. It's
that's on Wikipedia, at least.
Yeah, Wikipedia's still TBA.
It's Miyu, Yamashita, Yuka Sakazaki, Persephone, and Mina Shirakawa. Gee, I wonder who's winning. I'm gonna go with Mina Shirakawa. Just shot in the dark.
Yeah, I'll go there too. But now that's reminding me of perpetually one of the most fun names to say, Yuka Sakazaki.
Yuka Sakazaki. I miss when he used to just like repeat it multiple times as he's announcing her. Yuka Sakazaki.
Dude, that match is fun. That's a lot of really fun people.
Oh, that match is absolutely fun. No, I'm not knocking the match. I was knocking the moment there that I thought they weren't announcing who's in the match. But no, that match looks great.
Wikipedia's yet to catch up on this stuff. So, but
yeah, Wikipedia.
Yeah. What do you mean you didn't know that Tony Khan tweeted this a minute ago? Apparently, this is literally a minute ago.
And you want to ask for my donations?
Yeah, you suck. You.
Technically speaking, Smark Out Moments more updated right now than Wikipedia, so I'm just saying, patreon.com/. Let's see, we got Dark Order. John Silver, Evil Uno, and Alex Reynolds are up against the Frat House, Preston Vance, Cole Carter, and Griff Garrison in a 6-man tag.
Who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
I forgot about that joke. For a second, I was going to go, he's the... And I'm like, wait, no.
That's the build-up to this match, by the way.
Oh, they're doing that again still?
The build-up to this match is the Frat House is trying to do their thing. They were trying to, out-drink the Dark Order, do all these things. And Johnny Hungy just keeps going, who the fuck is Griff Garrison?
What's your go-to frat movie? Your favorite frat house type movie? Or anything along those lines?
I've never had to think about it.
First time ever on a podcast.
As I just thought about it, the movie Acceptance came into my mind, but that's only because I just thought, ask me about my wiener.
I know that you haven't, you're not as deep into the movie stuff. You're a fan of like Revenge of the Nerds or Porky's or something along those lines.
Frat culture is not really something that applies to the United Kingdom.
Yeah,
we have standards.
So.
But I think of a frat movie, and this probably isn't even a frat movie, but like just American Pie comes to mind. But I don't know whether that's like
it's got frat DNA.
It's more of a coming of age thing.
Yeah, it's frat adjacent.
It's frat adjacent.
It strikes me as a frat thing to do, with like sticking your dick in a pie. That seems like what frat guys do.
Yeah.
I have never been a part of a frat, and I have never partaken in that element of a pie before. I'd go old school.
Fuck that pie.
Old school would be my option. You're my boy Blue. We got Nick Wayne defending the ROH World Television Championship against Teton.
Nick Wayne will be defeating Teton.
Yep. Get that title on Nick Wayne. But listen, it's in Texas. You're going to have some CMLL representation on this one.
You also have Blue Panther in here.
The real Blue Panther, not Blue Panther Jr. This is Blue Panther. This is the 60-odd-year-old Blue Panther. So
I made that mistake originally. I had I pre-wrote a lot of my stuff ahead of time for this weekend. Just try to make it so it's not. It'd be insane if I try to write up all the news at the same time and I try to write all this other shit. So yeah, if you go on like the Ring Report, you'll have seen and this is why I think that they did change this title and whatever. I made a mistake of pre-writing up the ROH thing, and at one point I had written out this pure championship match, and I was like, oh, well, you know what? I could see them potentially switching the championship over to Blue Panther, blah, 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 maybe this, that, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, wait, fuck, that's not Blue Panther Jr. And I completely redo the whole thing, because, yeah, they're not going to give the belt to him, I'm assuming. Then again, I'm out of the loop, so I don't know. Maybe Blue Panther's been on some kind of a run where it would make sense to give him that belt, but I'm assuming Lee Moriarty retains.
I'm going to say Moriarty retains, but I'm not as confident as I was with Nick Wayne.
Yeah, pretty similar vibe, but I think I'd go with, Moriarty retains. I would be surprised if we saw Bryan Danielson.
I was going to say,
because Bryan Danielson's a really good friend of Blue Panthers, so after
I was going to say, if Blue Panther wins, I think Danielson might help him, but then I would think that'd be really weird.
This kind of leads off into the next match, which is the Sons of Texas defending their Ring of Honor World tag titles against the Infantry. And it kind of just leads to the overarching question, which is, when are they ever going to do anything with Shane Taylor Promotions as a faction?
Well, they should be... Oh, go ahead.
I'll say they should be the dominant heel faction of Ring of Honor to help add a little bit of weight into this because you've got all the tools there. You've got Shane Taylor as your big, like, both experienced guy, like really good hand, good talker, definitely your world title kind of level guy. Lee Moriarty, your pure champion, the technical wrestler. Got a good tag team in Sean Dean and Carly Bravo for the infantry, and you've got I always forget her name.
Trish Adora.
Trish Adora, yeah, as your women's pick to take either the television championship or the world championship. So it's like you have the tools there to be a dominant heel faction and take over all the gold, really, but they never seem to pull the trigger with them.
Well, I'm hoping that you're right,
and they're not going to have the Sons of Texas. They're not going to have the Sons of Texas lose in Texas against the infantry.
No, they're not.
They could if they want to get some heat, but they're probably not.
I remember when this show was announced last year, when they announced that they were doing All In Texas, they'd be doing Ring of Honor Texas. I thought, oh man, maybe Dustin could like fight for the ROH World Title. You know, like that was one of my main predictions, that like he'd be doing something. Maybe the Von Erichs would be in an AEW tag match for that point. And I'm just kind of shocked that it's just like, yeah, it's going to be him and Sammy probably retaining the titles over the infantry. I'd love to see the infantry win, though, because Callum's right. Shane Taylor Promotions is a great group of talent, and they should have more to work with. Also, Dustin Rhodes signed a 6-year contract extension at the end of last year with AEW. So the Natural will be around in the fold for a while.
And then we have the Women's World Championship match for ROH, Athena against Thunder Rosa.
This is objectively the most intriguing match on the card.
Not being, a watcher of ROH does make this very hard for me to be like whether or not there's a gauge of Thunder Rosa having the momentum for this. But this is the first time that I've been like, all right, I'm just going to pick Athena. Because I keep always going, well, Billy Starks is going to beat her and whatever. And then now I'm second guessing it already. Because every time that I do the whole like, well, Athena's probably going to lose now. She doesn't. And now that I'm like, she's probably going to retain. I'm like, she's probably going to fucking lose.
I think she's losing, and I'll tell you why. I think the reign's gone on too long at this point, unless you're just like, you got to get her to 1,000 days a la Roman at WrestleMania 39. I think...
Is that what, like 930 something or whatever?
937 at the moment.
937. I mean, if they're that, like, she has to get to 1,000 and she can lose the final battle, then yeah, they'll have her win. But I think Rose is going to win because it's in Texas. She is a name to where she can carry this championship and, do something in Ring of Honor and allow Athena to move on to AEW. And I said this on the predictions podcast. I think if she loses here, she's winning tomorrow. So I'm going to say Athena loses, Thunder Rosa wins, and Athena's winning the gauntlet.
I think that this one is very unpredictable because, I'd say, it's about time that Athena was just more of a mainstay feature on AEW TV as opposed to Ring of Honor. And the same token, I think it's actually probably better that Thunder Rosa is not a regular on AEW TV and is more focused on the Ring of Honor side of things. I think it can work both ways. So I would be in favour of the move or the transition for the championship. But there's part of me that just thinks this is like completely backwards to what I thought about the Roman situation. But because it's not exactly like a super strong, like there hasn't been like a big build to this, and it doesn't feel like a big culmination for the end of her reign in the same way that I thought you should have had Sammy beat Roman for the title, all those things, even if it would have I think it would have even added to the match with Cody, or the first match with Cody, should I say. But I think that in this instance, you might as well just get Athena to 1,000 days. Better yet, you should try and get Athena to close to 1,000 days and get to the idea of Athena almost challenges, let's say Mercedes wins the title at All In, and you get to almost like the week before she's going to hit 1,000 days and says like, okay, I'm going to challenge you for the world title. Like, if you beat me, you end my title for title. If you beat me, you end my chances of becoming an 1,000-day long champion. But if I beat you, I get to be
the first person who beat you.
Yeah, the first person to beat you,
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
that's
first person to hold the AEW and Ring of Honor World titles at the same time.
That's a really
So it's
great idea, but I personally, like, I like the idea, but I'm personally over title for title. I think there's a lot of people walking around with a lot of titles right now, and I'm kind of
There's one person walking around with a lot of titles, but that's kind of as
Well,
long as it's only one, it's fine.
there's a handful of people walking around with more than one, is what I'm saying, and I think we could hit pause on that for a little bit.
I think Athena will return.
Solid.
I'm like 50-50 at this point. I still keep thinking Athena should retain, but then that makes me just go, well, Thunder Rose is going to probably win. I'll just say Athena. I'm not have any money on this.
I'm going to go double down on Rosa. Just actually, Callum makes the best argument. Athena should be more of a mainstay on the other brand, and Rosa should be more of a mainstay on Ring of Honor.
At the very least, I think that there's more of a chance that this belt changes hands than the Bandido and Konosuke Takeshita match.
Oh, are you crazy? Why wouldn't you make Takeshita your Ring of Honor World Champion?
Because
I think he's too big for it.
He's going to do the G1, and he'll probably win the G. And there's a good chance he'll win the G1.
All right, well, that's a different problem because if it's just doing the G1, I say who cares.
Like, I think like at the moment, Bandido's. I said it beforehand, and I'll say it now. Bandido's the hot hand right now. I think he is like he's using this title reign well, and he's been featured on AEW TV. And I think that he will drop the title either at the next big show or the one after it, and then be part of the Continental Classic in AEW, and we'll go from there. But I think he's getting great reactions right now, especially in their tour of the kind of doing matches down south. I think he'll get a great reaction in Texas. And I mean, this will be the best match you'll see before All In this weekend. So, yeah, I'd say just have a great match, and Bandido retains. Takeshita goes off to Japan for a little while, and Bandido continues to continues to rise while he's still in AEW.
Does Bandido beat him clean, or
yes.
do they do like a DQ? All right, you're saying beat him clean. All right, last question.
There's no
does Chris Jericho return to beat up Bandido?
No.
Okay.
I think Bandido Jericho thing's over. I think Jericho comes in and just starts a new program with somebody.
I think we will see Jericho before the weekend is over.
I think there's a good chance we see Jericho in the casino gauntlet, and he comes out to Judas and he tries to be a babyface.
I think if he comes out to Judas, he is.
Yeah. Because Big Bill and Brian Keith have become baby faces essentially now, so there's no need to come back as the learning tree stuff.
I'd like to see Jericho come out, and before he gets to the ring, the match ends.
No, that's the Anthony Bowen spot. I told you that is the Anthony Bowen spot.
That's right, you were talking about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. He can come out as Anthony Bowen.
All right, but if Jericho does that, then I think he just needs to go, bye guys.
Also, Anthony Bones came out a long time ago, so I don't think Jericho can do that for him.
That's a good one. Yeah, anything else for ROH? I don't know. That's going to be happening. When does that fucking happen? Because I literally see, even on their own website, they have contradictory information. They've got graphics that say 8 p.m. and then it says 7 p.m. and it doesn't say anything about 0 hour.
So they're not doing a scrum. I wonder if that means they're not doing a 0 hour.
Every graphic says 8 p.m. ET, but then again, every graphic for some reason, like AEW and WWE, they always put the main card time and they never put the pre-show. And the last last night I checked, I haven't checked right now, I'm going to check it. The YouTube channel didn't have
there is no 0 hour for All In. For Final Battle. For the Ring of Honor show that we're talking about.
So isn't there now? Now you've just completely gotten rid of all your.
Yeah. So what was your favorite frat movie again?
Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah, so there's no 0 hour for this show. It looks like they're very bare bones with Ring of Honor right now. They already told the media no scrum, no 0 hour, so you're getting like a solid 3 hour show probably, and then you're out of there.
Thankfully, SmackDown's only 2 hours.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I'm so happy about that. And I didn't even watch it last week, even though last week was the first of the 2 hour episodes again. I was like, I already know what happens. I'm not even going to watch like a minute of it. And I turned it on at one point, started to fast forward a little bit, and then I was just kind of like, you know what? I'd rather just do something else. So that was nice, not having to watch that. And we'll be doing the live coverage on EWN and Ring Report for the ROH card, of course, for anybody that wants to know the match results. No other information. We're not doing a post show or anything along those lines. I just realized I just kept the All In graphic this entire time up, and I never made the ROH one, but whatever. We're transitioning over to the other card to talk about for this, and that is WWE Saturday night's main event, which is happening obviously tomorrow, Saturday night. And that starts at 8 o'clock, goes from 8 to 10. Thankfully, it's a 2 hour show. 4 matches on this. One of them was announced via the typical, we're going to get the GM to just on their day off, record a quick cell phone video going, I'm going to announce this thing. And that was that Jimmy Uso gets a shot at the United States Championship, aka Jimmy Uso gets fed to Solo Sikoa.
Yeah, I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't be the case.
Yeah, it seems pretty cut and dry. It's just a means of extending the Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu match to SummerSlam.
It's not a bad call.
Or is it going to be another like wild Samoan, no pun intended, tag team match where you got like the Usos and Fatu and like Lance Anoa'i's on their payroll, so him against the MFT as they're now called, which is crazy because much like Tala Tonga, Solo Sikoa said MFT
like a year
a while ago, referring to Tama Tonga when he brought him in. And by the way, that stands for My Family Tree.
It took them long enough, right? It was like 11 months for them to figure out what the hell that term meant.
Which I'm fine with, except for the fact that this version of the group has the man that isn't related to any of you. Jeff Cobb is not related to them. He's just Islander.
He's as related to them as Samoa Joe is, by that proxy of not. And,
my only excuse for that is I guess they all get to pick one guy that isn't actually in the family. Like Roman had Sammy.
We all get one.
Everybody gets one. You know? But the match will be fine. I like this version of Solo so much more than the I need to be a silent killer that he was doing for last year.
You know what? We haven't referred to in a little while, and I'm going to bring him back because, of course, that's what happens on Smark Out Moment. Is that the equivalent of La Familia having Bam Neely?
Now, in fairness, though, none of those people. That was the weirdest faction. Bam Neely. I wouldn't want to compare anybody to Bam Neely. I barely want to compare Bam Neely to Bam Neely.
What he's up to?
I imagine he's running a gym somewhere.
Hopefully doing better than his career was, WWE. But Solo's definitely retaining that title. And we have 2 non-title matches, LA Knight versus Seth Rollins, that young upstart LA Knight. And Drew McIntyre against Randy Orton.
That young upstart Drew McIntyre.
Both matches mean nothing, but at the same time, it's just, big names on the card. Okay, sure. I'm going Drew McIntyre beating Orton, so that way when Cody beats Cena at SummerSlam, Drew is kind of de facto rolled into being the next number 1 contender. And I'm going Rollins beating LA Knight because Rollins has 3 people that can help him win that match.
Yeah, it seems like the the right results. I don't really see any need to change it. The only thing that potentially would change it if they want to do Drew and Randy at SummerSlam as well, then they might just have Randy win the first and then Drew wins a rematch at SummerSlam instead, just to give them something to do there.
Some like street fight or something.
Yeah.
I'm going Randy wins here, RKO, Big Pop, and then Rollins is winning because he's the main character of the company right now.
Apparently the biggest box office draw in the history of the company or whatever, too.
I mean...
You could just make stuff up.
But...
Nah. Like, it's making stuff up and then saying basically the exact opposite thing of what the reality is.
Especially when, like, that was his whole character arc, was that he's not. He's holding the other championship. Don't do that.
Well, speaking of don't do that, Gunther is facing Goldberg. So this is...
Don't do that.
This is the retirement match that they have purposely... They've had one phrase that they have been repeating over and over again, that Michael Cole goes, I asked Goldberg, what happens if you win? And he says, interesting.
Predicament, isn't it, Michael?
He turns into Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I thought of that Seth Rogen too. I've said this plenty of times, and I feel bad about it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Goldberg's winning here. And then I think Rollins, specifically Breaker, is going to beat the fuck out of Goldberg. And then Rollins will cash in. And then it'll be like, well, you wouldn't be champion if it wasn't for me, because they're already, for some reason, making Breaker like this, I don't want to listen to you, Rollins kind of guy. And he's already like upset that Karrion Kross helped him beat Sammy. They seem to be kind of fast forwarding the story a little bit. So I'm going to say Breaker, really attacks Goldberg. Goldberg gives back to the wrestler that he has literally said, he's just me. So that'll be Goldberg's giving back to the business. Rollins gets to celebrate. Goldberg gets the big send-off in Atlanta. WWE gets to go, hey, if you didn't watch Saturday Night's Main Event, you missed Goldberg winning and losing the title. And we're out of here.
If they are as obsessed with this, we want to, quote, control the narrative of the night and get people to talk about things where the last thing that's happening is a WWE thing. They could pull the trigger on that. But I think that they think Goldberg's last match is already enough. And I hope that they don't set up Gunther just to be, losing and then doing that whole thing either. Then again, I'm not super interested in Gunther right now. Like, to be honest, I don't know, kind of the shine's worn off a little bit for me. They haven't given him a great title reign before. His character's pretty much stalemated. And I'm not looking at the roster and going, who would be a real good opponent for Gunther at SummerSlam is blank. There's nobody that makes sense to me. I don't want to see Gunther versus Jey Uso at SummerSlam. So there is part of me that's like, I wouldn't be opposed to the Rollins cash-in just happening here. And then, not that I'm loving the Rollins thing either. Every single episode's exactly the same thing. Which always happens with Rollins too. Like, Rollins is kind of,
It's not a Rollins thing. It's a WWE main eventer thing. He's in that upper echelon where they all just do the same thing. I said all of that and then I forgot. They did set up Punk versus Gunther.
Yep.
They had them cross. So potentially, maybe you go there. Or maybe you go Rollins wins and then it's Punk, Rollins, Gunther, which I don't love. But
I think more than likely you're looking at Gunther versus Punk. Like, they did the whole shove thing. Ed gets Punk on the card. He's the number one contender just by sheer factor of being popular. So that's even more so why I think Gunther's retaining. Now they could do Gunther versus Punk in a non-title match if they wanted to do that whole thing. But I'm sticking with Goldberg loses. And this show ends with him just being like, fuck my arm, or like whatever he ends up hurting in this. That's awful. I've never met the guy before. He might be a nice guy, but you know what I mean.
Well, you think Goldberg's big send-off is going to be, fuck my arm? Like,
I mean, it could be worse. I mean, I imagine that. I can only imagine how bad this match is going to be if it goes over a certain amount of time.
I don't think it's going to be 2 minutes.
It should be. Fundamentally, this is how it should go. It should be like just do the Lesnar thing, but not have Goldberg win. Where essentially Gunther backs him up into a corner, maybe hits one big chop, Goldberg no sells it. Gunther, like, he shoves Gunther back a bit. Gunther dusts himself off, gets hit with a spear, gets hit with another spear. Jackhammer kicks out, goes for another spear. Gunther moves out of the way, gets him in the choke, beats him. He passes out, beats him. That's how long it should go. Literally no moves whatsoever. That's what people want to see quick. Well, Goldberg got over, I'll remind you, 27 years ago.
Oh, fuck.
For just doing quick squashes that dominated people and just destroying people left and right.
Quick addendum, 28.
Jeez.
Go on.
Well, he got to the top in 98. I'll put it that way. That was
fair.
the peak of his run. Was it? The peak of his career was 27 years ago.
He did beat Hulk Hogan 27 years ago.
Yeah. So, like, that's what got Goldberg over. So no one wants to see Goldberg do long matches, like, because it just kills the aura. And I know at this point it's a case of no one really wants to see him do any matches now because he's just he's
not Goldberg
his prime
anymore.
was 20. His prime was 27 years ago. So like he's just not that guy anymore. So I think that the stuff that he did with Lesnar was like a fun little return for its own little contained story. But other than that, like we haven't needed him back, or he shouldn't have been called upon so many times since then. I was of the belief that if you are going to do a final Goldberg send-off match, it should have been against someone like, I don't know, I'm trying to think who, or an Austin, Miz, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, someone like that he could just squash.
Yeah,
and you end the career with just like Goldberg doing what Goldberg does. Put it this way: is this him losing to Gunther here? If that's the route they go down, which I hope is the route they go down, like is that a more fitting send off for Goldberg than, let's say, what Sting's final kind of run with AEW was? Sting never lost a match doing it, and it wasn't a case of like, he's obviously an older guy, but it felt like it was a reverence to who Sting was and what he represented. Whereas what Goldberg is and what he represented is just, the ultimate monster babyface sort of character. So, like, you should have treated him that way, and he should just, if he came back for every now and again, it would just be a case that he just puts a mid-card heel in his place, and you just have a little fun segment that's in the mid-card of the show, and the crowd just gets to pop because they see Goldberg hit a spear and a jackhammer, and that's all they want to see. Want to see the entrance, the spear, but jackhammer, and that's it. So the more you've had him lose to the top-level guys, like, I don't know, your Reigns, Bobby Lashley's, Drew McIntyre's, anything along those lines, it's just diluted him to the point where I don't think people actually really care too much that this is his last match.
A few things. First of all, I will say I think Tony Khan would have been the man to handle Goldberg's last match with a lot of great respect. I think the last great Goldberg appearance is probably the 2019 SummerSlam where he just ran through Ziggler. Thought that was, that's Goldberg being Goldberg, because you got a guy bumping around for him. And I think WWE even knows that WWE hasn't done justice to Goldberg, because all of the clips they're showing, literally every single one, are all WCW. Even Tony Schiavone on the call, they're not even showing him like beating The Rock or anything. All WCW. So I think they know. And honestly, I don't want to see him go out a loser. But there's no other way to go here because you're fighting for the world title. So it'll be interesting to see how they get around that.
I had put up a thing before with the question of the day on eWrestling News of like who is Goldberg's greatest rival / best match opponent, like whatever context you want to put on there. And then I was like, in typical fashion, I put the question of the day out before I even think of my own answer. And sometimes that becomes obvious because then I end up being like, okay, I'm very clearly forming the question to have a specific answer and I have to reformat whatever. And for that, I was like, oh shit, I don't even know who I would pick. And I ended up writing up. Well, I was like, you might go with Brock or whatever, but I was like, to be honest, I would go with whatever person you want to throw at the beginning of his career. I just would rather see one of those matches where he squashes them. So as like, I would never anticipate saying this answer, but like, give me a Hugh Morris over like in a squash match with Goldberg over Goldberg wrestling The Undertaker or something, because it never worked out,
That match is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, that was awful.
Because it was like, oh shit, the cracks they're here. My favorite Goldberg match, I think the only good match he's ever had was probably DDP at Halloween Havoc 98. But my favorite Goldberg sprint is Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33, where they just go out there, they have the best finisher spam explosive match you'll ever see, and Brock wins. And then Goldberg should have went away.
Yeah, it should be the end.
Yeah, I'd say that the best Goldberg match I ever saw was the match with Lesnar at WrestleMania. I just think it hit all of the right notes really between those two guys, which are just known for quick finisher spam matches, and they just did everything in that one they possibly could do. One that goes a little bit under the radar, I really liked the match they had with Bad Blood, Chris Jericho. They finally paid off that story in 2003. Like the one of the only good things that Goldberg in his initial WWE run ever did, like paid off that story that they teased doing in WCW, but then never got around to doing. And his biggest moment in his career is beating Hogan in front of like that Georgia Dome crowd. It's like arguably the last real high point of WCW's entire existence is that moment. So, yeah, that's like it doesn't feel probably the biggest like detriment I could say about this is it just doesn't feel like a big deal.
Yeah.
As
big of a guy as Goldberg, it doesn't feel like anybody's really talking about it or anything.
WWE did both Goldberg and its women's division a great disservice this weekend. They not only booked it half-heartedly, but they're booking it up against one of the most anticipated shows of the year. That is a fumble, the likes of WCW, I dare say, where it's like, come on, dude, you're just being shitty, and that's not fair to Goldberg, nor is it fair to the women performing on Sunday.
Maybelline should have sponsored Goldberg.
Nah, he was born with it.
Well, we are done with the pay-per-view stuff and the hot tags of this episode. We got 2 more podcasts coming your way this week. Of course, following all the events that are happening tomorrow, I will have a 10 o'clock or so post-show for Saturday night's main event and ROH. No, I'm not going to talk about ROH on there. That's happening tonight. The NXT Great America Bash stuff and the All In stuff all lumped together. And then on Sunday, we've got Evolution and the deal when it comes to that. Make sure that you are subscribed, get your email alerts set up, make sure you're checking out the link tree, all the content on Smark at Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and then my own little personal social media accounts you can find at amagotree.com or anthonymango.com, exactly the same thing. Make sure you're following Rob and Callum too.
Yep, you can follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. Check out Fightful.com. We got a bunch of interviews from All In Media Day. We got all the coverage coming your way. Fightful.com is the premium source for wrestling news, and you support them and you support me, and I appreciate that. But check out what Callum's got going on, because he does cool shit.
You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Wigmaster14. Check out the Power Rankings every single Saturday over on smarkamoment.com, where I rank the WWE superstars based on their previous week's performances. And while you're over there, check out the Fantasy League, because a lot of big shows this week from the WWE side of things in terms of big point scoring weeks for Saturday night's main event for Great American Bash, for Evolution, a lot of points potentially being able to be scored there. So follow along to see how the week unfolds and who finishes out on top.
Okay, everyone, you know the deal. Make sure that you hit the like button. Make sure you leave your comments if you haven't done that already. And stay tuned for all of this whole pay-per-view stuff happening tomorrow. Adios for now, though. Enjoy ROH, enjoy SmackDown tonight, and we'll see you then. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.